Well, hello everyone. Swamp Fox here coming at you. I'm going to show y'all how to cook a proper New York strip steak and a lobster tail, a butter poached lobster tail, for you guys and gals who may not know. Okay. Anyway, I got some fresh garlic chopped right here. I got some rosemary right here, and a little bit of thyme. I didn't have as much time left as I thought. We never do we? But I'd rather have more time than that, but that's what I had on hand. And that's about enough rosemary. Rosemary has got a good pungent flavor, so you don't have to use a whole lot of that for what I'm doing. But anyway, this is real butter, salted. I'm using salted butter. When I poach my lobster tail, I'm not going to use no salt on the lobster tail because I'm using salted butter to poach it. Now, for your New York strip or any steak really, you want to use kosher salt, okay? And you want to use coarse kosher salt. All right? And you want to put a good bit of it on there. I'm gonna go back and forth a little bit. Now you see I'm putting a good bit. Don't be scared. Now listen, don't overdo it, okay? Because you can ruin your steak. But don't underdo it, okay? You want to put a good bit of coarse salt on it, right? Because number one, and then you want to smash that salt down into the meat, okay? Because you're not just eating the outside, you're eating the steak all the way through, okay? You want to flavor that meat all the way through. Now, another thing that you want to do is this steak has been resting for about an hour, room temperature, but I had it in a Ziploc bag. All right, I'm going to set the phone up and down a couple times sometimes, so y'all just have to bear with that. I have to get my tripod. Anyway, bear with me a minute. All right, so same thing with the pepper. We're going to put some pepper on it. That's all you need on a steak. Look, now I do like the Chicago style and the New York style steaks, right? But when you got a good, now this is also, the cooking time and temperatures I'm doing for this it's a 1-inch thick steak, okay? So know that also. You get thinner steaks, you want to reduce the cooking time, okay? You smash that pepper down in there. A couple reasons. One, you're going to lose 30% of what you're putting on to, I'm wiping my hand every time, guys. You're going to put you're going to lose 30% of what you're putting on to the pan when you start frying it, okay? Same thing, and you want to do both sides. You don't want to overdo it again, but as you see, I'm putting a good bit of coarse salt on it. And you got to use the coarse salt. Fine table salt don't work as good. It's just mainly for after seasoning, you know. I mean, in like stews and stuff like that. It's always better to use kosher sea salt anyway. Anyway, pat that in there, smash that in there really good like that. And then pepper the second side too. Again, you can use rubs if you want to, but you know, steak, it don't need nothing but salt and pepper. Smash that salt and pepper in there. Okay, all right. Give me a second, let me wash my hands. Now bear with me. Now look at that beautiful steak while I wash my hands. All right, now I'm using a New Wave grill for this. All right, so you're gonna put it on. You can put it on max sear. That's a little too high. It's like, well, it's 425. I like to go 400. Let that pan get good and hot. So I'm gonna let that sit there a minute. While I do that, this is real butter. This is not, again, vegetable oil. This is real butter. Okay. I melted it real slow, I didn't want to bring it to a boil. You don't want it to burn, okay? But you melt it real slow and on low. Mix it back up. Get the salt and the cream and all mixed back together real good. All right, then you're gonna add your thyme, your rosemary, your garlic. Go ahead and add all that in there. Hold on a second. I got that on low. I'm gonna stir that around a little bit. Man, I can already smell that garlic. Once it hit that butter, and that warm butter, that aroma. Oh, sorry. Anyway, so you stir that around, let that rosemary get all in there. Man, it's starting to smell real good. All right, that pan's getting hot, but it ain't hot enough yet. You want that pan to be 400 degrees, and a good 400. Mix this around a little bit more. This I got ready for when I'm going to saute the steak at the end, and then while the steak is resting, I'll poach the lobster tail. So that way when the lobster tail is done, the steak will be done resting by then, because you want to let this steak rest 5 to 7 minutes after it's cooked. You're going to sear it all the way around on the edge. Then you're going to drop it. You're going to let it cook 3 minutes on the first side. You're going to flip it. Cook it another 3 minutes. Throw the butter in there and cook it about another 1.5 minutes. It's going to be about 7.5 minutes altogether on this cook. And it's going to come out perfect for me, the way I love it. Boy, that rosemary and that thyme and that garlic smelling good, buddy. You don't even know. I got my lobster tail soaking in ice water. Do not soak your lobster tails in regular water. What you're doing when you're doing this, when you're soaking it, you want to, for about 1 hour to 2 hours, you want to soak your lobster tails and change the water several times. But make sure it's ice water that you put the tail in each time, because then it gets all mealy in the warm water. But you want to do this in this because this is a big lobster tail. Okay, so the bigger the lobster tail, guys, don't always go with bigger. Okay, now this was, somebody gave these to me, so they actually gave me two of them. Already ate one the other day, but these are about 8-ounce lobster tails. Okay, and the bigger they are, the harder they are, the tougher they are. Okay. So you want to go, when you're buying them for yourself, you want to go with the smaller ones. Everybody thinks, oh, get the bigger ones, but you don't. Anyway, let it soak in that water and change the water a couple times, and that'll take a lot of that salt, brine flavor out to begin with, because you want that sweet lobster meat taste. But again, the bigger it is, the more that goes away. So anyway, it's delicate. You want to treat that right. All right, so basically, you want to grab the steak. Now I'm going to start this and show y'all, and then I'm going to put the phone down. I'm going to come back and forth. But you want to start the steak. Again, you want to grill these, all the edges all the way around before you cook the sides, okay? All right, I'm going to set this down for a minute because I need to use both my hands. You're going to sear that fat real good. And even the edges that don't have fat, you want to sear them edges too. Lock them juices in. And sear that, some of that fat's good. You get it seared good enough, it tastes good. Now, not that old gristly fat, but you know what I mean, guys. Now that I got them edges, see what I'm talking about? See that nice sear on them edges? Look at that. Okay, now I'm gonna drop it down. All right, first 3 minutes. Let that cook on that side for 3 minutes. All right, I'm gonna put the phone down a second, guys, and wash my hands. You always want to keep your hands washed and your utensils washed. It's cross-contamination and whatnot, okay? Especially when you're doing seafood and steak. Now, when you, after your steak is cooked, you're going to want to let it rest, like I said, for 5 to 7 minutes. So what I do is I put a plate, you get it a little warm. You don't want it hot. You don't want it too warm, but you don't want it cold either, because when you're sitting that steak on it, you want to let it rest. Now, normally, I use a resting tray. You really want to let it sit like that, off of something. But I broke the glass lid that goes over it, and I got to get another one. So I'm just going to use 2 plates, and I'm going to let the bottom one be warm. Just not hot, but warm. And you're going to want to, listen, use a timer, because a lot of people can't judge a steak, time and stuff. Some people are bad at time. So you don't want to overcook it, you don't want to undercook it. Well, this is going to be like mid-rare, so, like medium, not mid-rare, medium. So anyway, use a timer, that's best. Again, you see this is a good thick piece of steak. It's going to be about medium to mid-rare, right in that area. That's how I like it. Just a few seconds, I'm going to flip it. That cook for 3 minutes. You don't want to press down on the steak too hard, but this pan this is a big steak for this little pan. Make sure I'm getting a good sear on it all. We're gonna get this butter and stuff stirred up. Man, that's good. So that's about my 3rd soak in ice water to get the ocean salt out of the lobster tail. And when you butter poach a lobster tail, you do not want to you don't want to burn the butter, because again, I'm using real butter. Butter burns easy, but you don't want to go over 190 degrees. That's why when I'm doing this, I use these New Waves, because it's got the digital temperature. But you don't want to go over 190 degrees. I usually do about 175, 180. And on a lobster tail like this, it's going to be about 7 to 9 minutes butter poaching it. All right, my plate's good and warm now. For the top one, I'll go ahead and stick the bottom one, I'll stick the top one on. That's gonna be my plate cover while it's resting, so that steak will stay good and warm. Don't poke holes, listen, don't poke holes in your steak. That's not how you do it. You just smash the stuff in there, but you don't poke holes in it. That's not how it's done, y'all. I see people poking holes in their steak. I'm like, man, all the juice is gonna come flying out. Now this pan's gonna be hot. It's gonna be 400 degrees, so I'm gonna turn it down to about 280. And these things are good because they instantly start dropping down. The pans are designed to start cooling quicker too, but it'll still be hot. But you don't want to burn the butter. You don't dump it straight on the pan, dump it kind of on the steak. So it kind of cools it a little bit as it goes. All right, so just like this. And now for the last about a minute and a half, you're gonna get all that. You're gonna saute that steak just like that. Look at that. Look at all that good garlic and that rosemary and that thyme. Man. Now it kind of looks like the butter's burning. It's not. That's just the black, crust off the bottom of the pan. Oh, damn it, doggy. Alright, I'm gonna put the phone down so I can take the steak out the pan. Alright, got that steak resting. You're gonna let that steak rest about a minimum of 5 minutes, but I would do 7. Now I'm gonna transfer this butter. Transfer the butter over here to the New Wave in the other pan. I put it in the pan that I had the melted butter in. And I'm gonna poach that lobster tail. Wash my hands again, bear with me. Alright, grab this lobster tail. You want to dry your lobster tail with a paper towel. Get some of that water off of there. Bear with me a second, guys. Alright, when you're poaching your lobster tail, you don't want it to like boil. You just want to cook it slow. And I'm going to let that heat up just a little bit more. That butter tastes good. And that's really good. That garlic butter and that rosemary, buddy. Now that you're gonna poach the lobster tail, you want to get the sticks and all out the way. Leave that good garlic butter in there. All right. All right, we're gonna drop that lobster tail in there, just like that. Whoa, how did that happen? Sorry guys, I didn't know the thing did that. Anyway, you're gonna drop that lobster tail in there, and you're gonna start throwing that butter on there, just like you did with the steak. You're gonna do this for this size for about at least 7 minutes. I'm gonna check it as I go, as I'm cooking it. Just want to keep throwing that hot butter on it. You're going to flip it. Be careful not to sling the butter out the pan. I get a little wild sometimes. I got a big old mess to clean up. People love when I cook because they love to eat my food, but they like if I make a deal with them, I'll cook if you clean. They only do that a couple times. Because I'll throw down in the kitchen, I make a big old mess. Gordon Ramsay would fuss at me, but he loved the food I made. Man, you can almost drink that, that butter, garlic. You don't want to go too high. You don't want to cook it too fast. You don't want to overcook lobster, but you dang sure don't want to undercook it. Undercook it, it's mealy and rubbery and hard to eat. You know, it ain't so good overcooked either, but you can deal with it. It tastes better. It's better flavor. So you always want to cook it. You don't want it to. You want it to be white and done, not gray and translucent. You want it to be white and cooked through. I hope this, oh man, let's see. Yeah, I ain't got, it's gonna, look, this video is gonna end right as this is getting done, guys. So I may have to send a part 2 or do a part 2 for the outcome, because I can only do 30-minute videos on this stupid phone. This real expensive phone. I got 26 minutes left, so that's 4 minutes. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and flip this, poach it on the other side. What I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and cut the steak just to show y'all the finished product of that. As y'all see, this is looking really good. See how it's turning white and it's not translucent on the bottom where it's done been cooked against the heat of the pan. It's not done yet by any means. We got at least 3 or 4 more minutes. I didn't cut I should have cut the belly a little bit more. It's starting to curl. You see how it's not curling down at this end? I guess I didn't cut it enough. Yeah, I'm not perfect, guys. Just most people think I am. But yeah, you split it, you cut it, and it'll keep it from curling. I just didn't cut it enough. I cut it, I just didn't cut it enough. I was trying to do this quick because of the time I'm limited on this phone. All right, 1 more minute. I'm going to go ahead and, even though the steak hasn't rested as long as I normally would like, and the lobster is not finished cooking all the way, I'm going to show y'all the steak, and I'll finish the lobster. Oh, actually, the steak is only rested about 5.5 minutes. But I want to go ahead and cut it so I can show y'all how I like it. Bear with me a second. All right, guys. Beautiful. Look at that. Look how beautiful that steak is, y'all. Can you see that? Look at that. Man, that's beautiful. That's just how I like it. Not bloody, pink. Look at that. Boy. Look at that, guys. Beautiful. And look at the sear on that steak, man. That's going to hold that flavor in so good. I cut it for you guys. All right. I'm going to finish my lobster tail because I'm about to run out of time. Everybody, I love you all. God bless everyone. Swamp Fox out.